the Indiana Fever are planning to ship Caitlin Clark to the Los Angeles Sparks. I expect UCLA coach Corey Close to be the head coach of the Los Angeles Sparks. Corey Close, after that championship game that she won with the UCLA Bruins, she's been very adamant. She's been very upfront. Yeah, all this transfer portal stuff, I'm not really sure if I want to.
Something is brewing inside the Indiana Fever locker room, and it is bigger than anyone is willing to admit on camera. A few days ago, footage circulated across every corner of social media. Caitlin Clark, the woman who is supposed to be the face and the future of the Indiana Fever, sitting on the bench with fire in her eyes. Head coach Stephanie White walked over, said something to her, and directed Raven Johnson to sit in Clark's spot. Clark shook her head. Kelsey Mitchell leaned in to cool things down. The camera didn't lie. Now, before we go any further, both Clark and White sat down with reporters afterward and said there was nothing to see. White said it wasn't a story. Clark said they were just two competitive people who wanted to win. Fine. But here's the thing. When two people have to publicly clarify that they're not fighting, you start to wonder what they're actually trying to hide.
This might be the craziest Caitlin Clark rumor yet. A growing rumor says the Indiana Fever could trade Caitlin Clark to the Los Angeles Sparks. No credible reports have confirmed it, but the fact that people are even discussing it shows how frustrated some fans are with the Fever.
Because what followed that moment? Reports of trade rumors, a secret meeting, and a former NBA champion going on social media saying Indiana wants Clark out. So, let's talk about what's really going on.
So, whatnot, and then this is when...
After back-to-back losses, Sophie Cunningham went on a podcast and revealed that the Fever had held what she described as a long team meeting. She didn't go into specific details, but the fact that she called it long tells you something. Teams don't have long meetings when things are going smoothly. And here is where it gets interesting. Because while the official story from the Fever's camp is that everything is fine, that Clark and White respect each other, that the team is rallying, there is a very different energy coming from outside the building. Sophie Cunningham, to her credit, tried to spin it positively.
Where there's not always division.
She said Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark are just two very competitive people who both want to win and sometimes bump heads, which honestly is the most diplomatic thing she could have possibly said. But read between the lines, she didn't say they love each other. She didn't say the chemistry is great. She said they bump heads and they both want the same thing. That's called an uneasy alliance, not a partnership. And an uneasy alliance under the pressure of a tough season in a league where every single game is analyzed, dissected, and posted on social media within minutes is a ticking clock. The Fever PR machine can manage the narrative for a while, but you can't manage what's already being felt inside the locker room.
That would mean so much to me. Michael Thompson comes out and says, I'm hearing from a reliable source, the Fever don't want Caitlin no more. Sparks, go get her now. And unless he comes out and says he's trolling, I'm taking this as face value. I'm taking this as serious. I'm not taking this as clickbait at all. I do believe he has reliable sources. I do believe he has sources within the WNBA. I do believe he has sources within the Los Angeles Sparks. And I do believe it's been floated by him the same way that things have been floated by Dan Dockage. I believe it's been floated by Michael Thompson. Yeah, they're not too fond.
On June 3rd, Michael Thompson, father of four-time NBA champion Klay Thompson and the color commentator for Los Angeles Lakers radio broadcasts, posted something on X that stopped the entire basketball internet in its tracks. This isn't some anonymous account with a blue checkmark and 400 followers. This is a man with NBA championship rings, deep ties to the Los Angeles basketball world, and a media platform. He isn't posting things like this for fun. He heard something, and whoever told him felt strongly enough about it that he went public. But it didn't stop there. Shortly after, Thompson doubled down. He posted again, this time asking, "Yeah, I hear the Fever. Are sick of Clark? Y'all hearing that too? Sick of Clark." Those three words set the internet on fire. The Fever immediately pushed back. No official statement, just the usual quiet denials through sources insisting there is no truth to any suggestion that Clark is available. And on paper, that sounds reassuring. But here is the thing about the ENBA and about sports in general. By the time a denial is issued, the conversation has already moved on. The seed has been planted, the question has been asked, and people start connecting dots they weren't looking for before. Here.
Yeah, I was talking about that earlier today, and I think that was like one of my first really good memories in this league, honestly, was that game.
First win.
Yeah. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, first win. One of my first road trips too. So I didn't play very well in that game, but I made some big shots late in the game, and I just remember the environment being incredible. I remember like Klay Thompson was courtside, and there was quite a few big stars in the building for that game. So really fun. Like, this is like whenever I get asked in like interviews and things, like what are some of my favorite places to play? Like, this is always one that comes to mind. So just super excited. It was obviously certainly hard to sit on the bench and have to watch last year, but my team played some good games here. So excited to be back and playing for.
Now let's talk about the Los Angeles angle, because this is where the story goes from drama to strategy. When the Fever traveled to Los Angeles to face the Sparks on May 13th, Caitlin Clark was in a good mood. She held pre-game media availability. She smiled. She answered questions. On the surface, it was a routine road trip. The Fever won 87-78. Clark finished with 24 points and 9 assists, looking closer to herself than she had in weeks. But behind the scenes, according to the rumors now circulating, there was more happening in Los Angeles than just a basketball game. The claim is that Clark had a private conversation with people connected to the Sparks organization. Not a formal trade negotiation, not a league-sanctioned meeting, just a conversation. The kind of conversation where a player consciously or not starts thinking about what a different situation might look like. Now, whether or not that meeting happened exactly as described, the optics are already doing damage. Because the moment Michael Thompson posted his claim and pointed directly at the Sparks as the team that should go get her, everything in Los Angeles started to make sense. Think about what the Sparks already have. Kate Martin, Caitlin Clark's former Iowa teammate and someone Clark has trusted her entire basketball life, signed with Los Angeles earlier this season. Cameron Brink, a young, versatile big who can stretch the floor and protect the rim, is also on the roster. The foundation of a Clark-friendly environment is already being built in Southern California, whether intentionally or not.
I think there's some smoke over here. Now, I'm not necessarily saying a trade is going to get done, but I don't think the Indiana Fever are as fond of Caitlin Clark as that front office would like us to believe. You have Lynn Dunn also going out of her way, reposting things that Carolyn Peck has said before. And Carolyn Peck, we know how Carolyn Peck feels about Caitlin Clark. We know exactly how Carolyn Peck feels about Caitlin Clark. Carolyn Peck talking about the standard. Stephanie White yesterday talking about the standard. Lynn Dunn comes back today. The standard. It's going to be a very, very interesting situation to monitor. And will Adam Silver and Kathy Engelbert behind the scenes say, no, we got to get her to Los Angeles. Same way we had to get Luka to LA, we got to get Cece to LA and bring back, and start up the Showtime.
Here is what nobody in mainstream sports media wants to say directly. The WNBA has a big market problem and the league knows it. The Indiana Fever are a mid-market franchise in a mid-market city. They have been competitive. They have a passionate fan base and they have Caitlin Clark, the single biggest draw in women's basketball right now. But Indianapolis is not Los Angeles. Indianapolis is not New York. And in a league that is desperately trying to grow its national and global footprint, having your crown jewel playing in a smaller market is a structural challenge. Now, enter the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers ownership group recently purchased the Los Angeles Lakers from the Buss family, injecting massive resources, corporate relationships, and brand infrastructure into one of the NBA's crown jewel franchises. And with that ownership now connected to the LA sports ecosystem, the Sparks become a very interesting chess piece. An ownership group with Dodgers money, Lakers prestige, and a stadium at crypto. Com Arena, the same building where the Lakers play, would have the financial muscle, the marketing infrastructure, and the media connections to make the Sparks a genuine WBA superpower. Add Caitlin Clark to that mix and you are not just building a team, you are building a global brand. It is not crazy to suggest that WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, who has been increasingly vocal about WNBA growth and player compensation, would quietly see the appeal of a Clark to LA move. Not mandate it, not force it, just make the conditions favorable. create the environment where the market corrects itself.
Because you got a group of people who are really stupid and incompetent, and they want to put all their chips in for Kelsey Mitchell if it's true. Let's hope it's not true. Let's hope this is just a rumor. But a couple people already confirmed that there's a reliable source out there. And you know what's funny? Not one reporter refute this. Because you know how fast they were when Skip Bayless said that Stephanie White's about to get fired? How many people got rushed to Skip Bayless like, no, that's fake, that's false, that's false. How come no one doing that?
Here is something that deserves more attention than it's getting. The Indiana Fever's front office has repeatedly said publicly, loudly, and with total confidence that they have no intention of trading Caitlin Clark. One source close to the team told reporters earlier this season, there is no trade in the works. That's just not real. Fine, but loyalty in professional sports is almost always conditional, and the conditions in Indiana are quietly becoming more complicated. The Fever have built their entire identity around Clark since she was drafted. They gave her the marketing. They gave her the brand. They rebuilt their roster around her. And then once they had her locked in, they brought in a head coach whose system does not naturally fit her game. That is not the move of a front office that has fully thought through what it means to build around a generational talent. A truly loyal front office would look at what made Clark great in college. The pace, the freedom, the creative offensive role, and build a system that replicates those conditions in the pros. Instead, what Clark has been dealing with is a more rigid system-first approach that has visibly dulled her edge. And when a player of Clark's caliber is operating at a fraction of her potential, not because of injury, not because of age, but because of system fit, that is a front office failure. A quiet one they will never admit to, but one that the tape makes undeniable. The Fever can say they are loyal to Clark all they want, but loyalty without the right conditions to succeed is just a nice word on a press release.
Yeah, I mean, I think she coaches me. Like, as bad as I want it, like, Steph wants it the same way for me, and she wants it the same way for this team. Like, she's been in this part of this organization as, you know, a player, as a coach, and, you know, now trying to hopefully get us to, you know, win our second championship as an organization. Like, she wants this for these people. You know, she grew up in this state. You know, she knows what this state's all about and the way they support the Fever. Like, she wants it like just all of us do. And you have to remember, like, she was a player, and, like, coaches have the same competitive fire that players do. They just don't get to put on the jersey. And at times, I'm sure that's really hard for them. Like, they want to be out there and maybe have the ball in their hands a little bit. I mean, I don't know that they're getting pretty old, so I don't know if her knees will keep up. But, you know, I think that can be the hard thing for them at sometimes. But they want it just as bad as the players.
Now, let's give Clark the floor, because in all this noise, her voice has been the most measured and the most telling. When reporters asked her about the Stephanie White sideline incident, Clark didn't deflect with PR language. She said, "They are just two competitive people who want to win." That's a real answer, not a scripted one. Two competitive people, not two teammates who are on the same page, not two minds working in harmony, two competitive people. That phrasing matters. Clark has been in competitive environments her entire life. She played under a demanding system at Iowa under Lisa Bluer and thrived. The difference there was that Bluter built the system around Clark. Here in Indiana, Clark is being asked to fit into a system that was not designed around her. And for a player whose greatness comes from instinct, creativity, and improvisation, that is a significant ask. There is also the question of what Clark wants for her career beyond just the next season. She is still early in her professional journey. She has years of basketball ahead of her, and the conversations, public and private, about where she plays, who she plays with, and under what system she plays, are entirely legitimate. Every elite athlete thinks about these things. The great ones act on them. Whether or not that meeting in Los Angeles happened exactly as described, the fact that the conversation is even happening tells you something. Clark is thinking about her future. And her future might not look the way Indiana's front office imagined it.